Time now for the voice of the land on the Big Play Network with your hosts, Kevin Arnold and Always Positive Jay.
Welcome, everybody, to the voice of the land. I'm Kevin Arnold. Always Positive Jay is somewhere in the stratosphere, and the AI that is known as audio, better known as Peter Tulip, he is really in the stratosphere somewhere, as we are remote here tonight for this edition of the voice of the land. And guys, we'll just jump right on in. We're on the Big Play Network. We're brought to you by Vector Technical to get the right person, the right job the first time. Boy, the job of Browns fans is always to freak out, apparently, though. And I don't know why, but Jay, what happened today?
I don't know. Apparently, the offense completely fell apart, and defense is still there, but the team's falling apart. We don't have a kicker at all. We can't give him any time. The world's coming to an end when it comes to the Browns, Kevin. You didn't hear?
I guess I didn't hear that. I mean, we traveled to Philly for 2 days, and it's like everything is, Chicken Little. The sky is falling. The sky is falling.
I know. Just to think, the team that was in the Super Bowl might have played a little better than us. Man.
And boy, the Browns won day one. And Super Bowl runner-up having a little chip on their shoulder and wanted to play better when they were at home. I wonder what that's like. Last time I checked the calendar, Jay, it's August 16th, not January 16th or December 16th or anything like that. Am I right in that, or did I read the weather today and the calendar wrong?
You didn't fall asleep and hibernate for months, Kevin. You didn't miss the season.
I mean, there's part of this job of turning into a dad has felt like I've been hibernating for a long time, because there are days that just
maybe lack of hibernation, the opposite of hibernation.
Lack of hibernation making you feel like you're in hibernation. That's for sure.
What's the opposite of hibernation, where you just are awake all the time?
Insomnia.
Anxiety?
Insomnia.
What's the opposite of hibernation, where you stay awake for a month?
Well, it'd be like insomnia, where you can't sleep.
Yeah. Anxiety. Being a Cleveland fan, I guess it all just goes hand in hand. But so we say all that in jest, but today, yes, a lot of people were freaking out, and a lot of people were already at the stage. I know fellow Big Play teammate Nick Padone had tweeted out, we're already at the stage of fighting with media members on Browns Twitter. That's going to happen regardless. But Zach Jackson, The Athletic, put out an article, and this is kind of where this conversation started today, and basically told it like it was, what he saw from the offense. But then the article also made it seem like the passing game has been terrible. He also said it has a chance to get better, because it is August 16th, but people don't see those pieces. And people also aren't being given context of what's going on when Deshaun Watson is throwing interceptions and when Josh Dobbs is throwing interceptions. Listening to one of the Cleveland Browns radio network shows today, Nathan Zagura, who does the color commentary alongside the absolute best voice in the game, Jim Donovan, who we continue to send our well wishes to, he was breaking it all down, because he's there live and saying, yes, Deshaun Watson threw an interception in the red zone yesterday. He threw that when it was fourth and goal or fourth down. They're practicing a situation, so they gave him the situation. It's fourth down. There's 11 seconds left on the clock in a 2-minute drill. You have no timeouts, and you're down 3 or 4, so you have to score a touchdown. Well,
you gotta do something.
Where's he going to throw? Where does he have to throw the football to? The end zone, right? The offense knows that, but guess who else knows that? Oh, that's right, the defense. And it's only 11 yards of space to operate with. Red zone is one of the toughest areas. If we put that in perspective, yes, we don't want to see red zone issues this year. We don't want to see what we saw in game 2 of the preseason, Jay. But, I mean, this team has not built the chemistry in those areas of the field like Philadelphia has, and knowing exactly Jalen Hurts kind of having that second sense of exactly where these receivers are going to go, where they're going to even ad-lib to find that space to try to score in a tight window. So there's a big difference between where the Browns are right now, where they're trying to get to, versus where Philadelphia's already been and where they're trying to take that next step to this year.
For me, Kevin, what did we say we were going to do before the season started for training camp? What we wouldn't do. We weren't going to get overhyped about training camp news because it's training camp news. We've been getting overhyped forever, and obviously we haven't done good. But at the same end, I'm not going to get freak out about anything that happens in training camp whatsoever. To me, I just don't care what happens in these training camps. I don't care what happens during preseason games because I've watched the Browns go 4-0 in preseason and then go ahead and not win a single game. I should probably have more of a take, if we have a sports show talks, but I don't. I just don't care about it anymore. I'm like, whatever, dude. I just want to get to the games, dude. I'm so sick of training camp news. It's training camp, Kevin. We talk about training camp. Training camp.
Not a game, but practice. We're talking about practice. Yeah, the old Allen Iverson line, that was just playing in my head the entire day. But it did kind of take me by a little bit of surprise. Not that much surprises me with Browns Twitter or Browns fandom, Cleveland fandom in general, but just how that narrative so quickly changed. While we know that the passing offense has not found an exact rhythm yet, and we don't know, we're not ever going to be told what are they working on right now, how vanilla are things right now, and how many things behind closed doors, behind closed practices and walkthroughs are they working on and talking through that they are going to instill when there's fans aren't invited to practice and media isn't all over the place. They're
Hey Kevin, who are we playing week 1?
Cincinnati.
So would we want them to have any idea whatsoever? I mean, that's a pretty important game, right? We don't want them to know what we're going to do, right?
Now, some people would argue that, they're showing a lot of what they're trying to do with Elijah Moore. They showed a lot that one drive that they had last week. My counter argument to that would be, I don't know how good of a decision this is, but they might be thinking, well, we're just so confident in how many different packages we have for a guy like that and having a Swiss Army knife out there on the field that we don't care if we show at least even some of it and we have some stuff in our back pocket because you can see it and you can try to stop it, but we're confident that we're going to be able to execute some sort of option out of each play in that package that we have. Browns haven't gotten to a level where they have earned the right to have that kind of, confidence in themselves, but you're never going to gain confidence in yourself if you don't actually have it and it doesn't start somewhere. So you could go both ways. And that's why, like you said, yeah, we're supposed to have a take, but it is training camp. The one thing that is certain, OJ, and that I think we can both agree on is we have seen that there have been some issues with this passing offense, and Browns history has shown us whatever is that big question mark in training camp tends to rear its ugly head during the season. So you don't want these bad habits to become your habit. But good teams to great teams find ways when bad habits may come up in training camp, work out the kinks, and figure out a way to change things to get better as the season goes along. I'm sure across the board in all 32 training camps, Jay, there's a lot of teams, even if they're a good team, there's some sort of issue that's coming up. Guys' heads aren't right or something is going on where the same mistake keeps happening or similar mistakes keep happening. The teams that are going to have success by the time January and February come around are the ones that by the time September 10th comes around, those issues aren't going to be an issue anymore.
Yeah, I mean, you're dead on, dude. Hopefully we just get through this. All I want training camp, just get through it healthy. All I want. Just let me get through the season, get through it healthy. So there's no excuse of, what if we would have had this guy, or because of this happened, our whole season got derailed. I want the season of no excuses, Kevin. That's all I can ask for.
Yeah, a season of no excuses, and we're not going to make excuses. We're going to tell it like it is. Yes, we tell the people all this all the time. Yes, we have Always Positive Jay on the show, but Always Positive Jay is a moniker for life, and it's a way to, it's a guy that Jay is a guy that wants to help everybody and uplift people. When it comes to the sports teams, at times you gotta be real with it. You did mention injuries though, and there were some issues on Monday in the joint practice. I know Denzel Ward left with heat related stuff. Elijah Moore didn't get a chance to participate much outside of individuals after the injury in the preseason game to his ribs. It's always a difficult spot to get hurt at. Myles Garrett, tweak of his foot, opposite foot of where the toe is. And Jack Conklin again sidelined, and this time with concussion-like symptoms. Seen some other little nicks and injuries that have kept some guys out. Any pause for concern there from your end, Jay, when you've seen some of those reports coming out?
I think the Myles Garrett, probably someone stepped on his foot and he's like, all right, I'm done. And everyone freaked out on Twitter, of course. Mm-hmm. It was kind of funny. I'm like, I'll just wait till see what happens. And the one that kind of concerns me is Elijah Moore. I don't think that's being spoke. He's not a real big guy, like if they are going to use him that much, is he ever going to be able to like sustain that kind of abuse that he's going to take? Because you run him, dude, you're going to be hit like a running back. And with Jack Conklin, that's definitely concerning in a way, but I'd be lying if I'm not getting a little excited about how do you say, is it Dwayne Jones?
Yes, it's Dwayne Jones. It's not Dwayne Jones. I had someone, around me one day call him Dwayne Jones.
I did it three. I was thinking about it. I'm like, oh, now I'm thinking about it. I'm going to say it wrong. I think this kid might be a steal of the draft. Like, he looks the part. And the thing that got me, well, I'm like, all right, now I'm starting to get excited, is when Joe Thomas got excited. I'm like, oh, when the Hoff is getting excited about a lineman, that gets me excited about a lineman. So, I mean, the dude is just enormous. And he came in, like, they asked him, like, we need you to be in more shape and lose weight. And he did that and then some. And like they say, like, he ain't making the same mistake twice, which that's fantastic. So if you got a guy that's willing to put in the work and really just be a technical magician, like, get it down to a T, like, that's why Joe Thomas was Joe Thomas, because he works so hard at it. But then you give him that physical gift of his just enormous body, like, he might be trouble for defensive ends and help for us for many, many years, Kevin.
Yeah, if he takes the teachings of Bill Callahan, who has worked wonders. I mean, he got a guy named Blake to play center in a playoff game. I know. There was no one in the stands in Pittsburgh and blah, 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 blah. Still a game against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh has dominated us forever, and you have a third or fourth string center in there, and some other spots. There were some second and third stringers in that game, and you found a way to dominate and win and get that playoff win and you try to go on to Kansas City. So along the offensive line, a lot of that credit goes to a guy like Bill Callahan, and it's great we've been able to.
He's the best at what he does. We have the best offensive line coach, and I don't even think it's close.
And I'm so glad, like, with some of his sons and family in the league, that we have been able to hold on to Bill Callahan in one of those coaching assistant positions this long, because his name, he had a resurgence to his career and just kind of reiterated what he's been so successful with in his long time being around the NFL and being in the game of football. So it's been such a blessing to have one of the better offensive lines, no matter who's in there, because, even if it's an issue one week, Bill Callahan is going to make sure these guys aren't going to make those same mistakes the next week. So if Dwayne Jones takes the teachings of Bill Callahan and Joe Thomas, who, guys like that don't necessarily have to usher in the new generation. Now, does it make them seem kind of like prick a little bit if they don't, if they kind of turn their nose up if the young guy wants to ask questions of a guy that played there for a long time. Sure, that's never going to be Joe Thomas, but like he doesn't have to do that. He's prepping to call the game tomorrow. He's got other work to do. He's got family responsibilities, and he's got to check in with his family when he's on the road calling games and stuff like that. But he took the time after practice yesterday to talk to DeJuan Jones. That's how much he cares about this organization and cares about, not what he did, but helping that next generation come in and find their way of being successful. So I think
he may not have won here, but he's still contributing a lot. So if we ever do anything, like he's still going to be a part of that winning team if they ever get there.
And he's going to be I know he's going to be one of the people at the front of the line cheering on the guys that if we ever get to see the Lombardi Trophy hoisted with guys wearing orange and brown colors and,
he needs to be the guy who gives them the trophy. I feel like, don't you?
I do. And that would be such a sweet moment. And I know that the organization would share it with him too, because they do see him as still a part of the organization and he's willing to do that type of stuff. So DeJuan Jones is definitely a beast, but you got to back it up with the skills. And sometimes it takes taking the teachings of other people and finding your own way. And if you're already earning first team reps and you're going to joint practices, not saying that James Hudson is doing anything bad. I think that's just a credit to how hard DeJuan Jones is working. And, they're trying to get as many people up to speed and available to keep that depth strong throughout the year.
Unfortunately for James Hudson, he's just not as big as DeJuan Jones. Like when you're that big and that massively dominant, that's what makes the difference between the elite and good.
And for James Hudson, right now he's still seen as the backup swing tackle for this team, and
which is great. Like I like him.
And it's, if there's any sort of like questioning in his head now, seeing DeJuan Jones kind of getting some of those reps taken from him, one thing that guy like James Hudson or any player in the NFL has got to do is, okay, he's earned some of this time. What can I do better? Because this league is not for long. It's what have you done for me lately? So DeJuan Jones has shown a lot of flashes. So, he's the right now. But if you want to sustain being the right now, the future, whatever it might be, a guy like James Hudson, I'm not saying he has a chip on his shoulder, but you just gotta work just like everybody else. And
you gotta be ready. Your number to be called at any moment. Football is very violent. Those are the big guys. They get hurt a lot. And when you get your moment, you gotta shine, man. You gotta take care of it. So when he's in practice to help your team, you better be giving the dude across you hell, and he's going to get better for it, and you're going to get better for it. So and you're going to be ready when the time comes. And I think James Hudson is a professional. I mean, I've never seen anything bad from the guy. So,
and if it hasn't been done so already, hopefully these last 20 minutes have helped calm the mass Browns panic being in August, and we can just kind of move forward, recognize that there are issues this team needs to work through.
Yeah.
They need to recognize
if we start 0-4, freak out.
Yeah. If we absolutely look terrible and we lay an absolute egg in game one, there's always overreaction Monday and it's only one game. But if it looks like a wide gap between Cincinnati and the Browns, then some of that panic is a little bit more warranted. Right now, take it easy and maybe sit down and watch some baseball. We'll talk baseball on the other side of this break. You're tuned in to the Voice of the Land right here on the Big Play Network.
Whether you're looking to hire new talent or start a new career, Vector Technical has you covered. Vector Technical is a 28-year-old staffing firm that has helped thousands of job seekers advance in their career with reputable partners throughout Northeastern Ohio. Vector Technical is more than just a temp agency. With an above-average hire-in rate of 1 in 4 candidates, Vector works hard to connect the right person with the right opportunity the first time. Vector Technical hires for skilled manufacturing and light industrial work and is sure to have a career that you've been looking for. To learn more, visit our website at www.vectortechnicalinc.com.
Welcome back to the Voice of Land right here on the Big Play Network. Kevin Arnold, always positive. Jay and Peter Tulloch with you as always here on a Wednesday night. And we went to break talking about the Browns and how people are freaking out before they even play an actual game. Well, there is a team in town. I don't know if people forgot about this or not, but there is a team in town that are actually playing games that matter. And if you're someone that's been freaking out lately because of their inability to catch any sort of momentum and take hold of this division when the Twins are trying to give it to them, gift wrap it to them, then that's probably a little bit more warranted because we are way past the halfway point, getting down to the last month and a half of the baseball season. The Guardians, while playing some good baseball, every single time it seems like they catch momentum, they can't seem to sustain it and really take a hold of the AL Central. I've seen some guys come up and have an impact. Jay, Cole Calhoun, I know has played decently well. There's been moments where he's been put in positions where, he doesn't play first base very often, and he's making, helping make errors. And Brian Rocchio at third. And Jay, we're in a trial by fire type zone right now. And if it leads to this team getting back atop the AL Central and making the playoffs and playing good baseball towards the end, maybe making a run, crazier things have happened. It's really a tryout period, and this organization figuring out what they have and the young guys that have been at AAA and kind of log jam in the infield for so long.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I totally gave up on us catching the division. I doubt it. The rest of our schedule is about to get real tough, and we didn't take care of business when we should have. And whatever. I'm now switching my mind. Like, I'm not giving up on not watching or paying attention to the team, because now I'm like, all right, let's see the developmental of let's see these players develop. Let's see which one of these infielders are going to be the guy for us in the future. Man, I am excited about that young pitching staff. That definitely has me looking forward to the future, big time. My dad has gotten excited about one player like I've seen like this before. It was Manny Ramirez, and Galvin Williams has got him giddy about a player. It's like, oh, this guy, he's got the stuff, man. He's got the stuff, and I'm just like, all right. And ever since then, we watched his first start with him, and he's got the stuff. And then I'm drawing a blank. The other rookie sensation, Kevin.
Tanner Bibee?
Yeah. He's going to get votes for Rookie of the Year. I don't know if he'll win it, especially being on a losing team and not being in a major market. It's going to go against him. I don't think it should. But, what do you think about that, Kevin? Do you think Rookie of the Year? I could see MVP, which they give to Trout, who's on a losing team all the time. I think the MVP should be somewhat of a winning record, but I think a Rookie of the Year, I don't think your record should matter, because usually if you're a Rookie of the Year, you are a number one draft pick and you're getting called up and you're probably not in a very good team.
Yeah, you're not on a good team. And here's the unfortunate reality of professional sports. All awards have kind of gotten the MVP treatment. So if you're not really on a good team, unless, Shohei Ohtani doing what he does right now on a bad team, and I guess Mike Trout has kind of been the exception to the rule, being on a team that just hasn't won, being the best player in baseball. There's always those exceptions, but it's got to be the extreme exception. Tanner Bibee's not enough of that, hasn't been up here long enough. And, he's just started to really hit his stride this season. I believe he hasn't lost in his last 7 starts. I could be mistaken on that, but has not suffered a loss in his last 7 starts. And, just electric. And when these guys get in a jam, you can see when a pitcher's mind really starts to – it goes into this tailspin when there's a bunch of traffic on the base paths, and they can't throw that strike. They can't get that secondary pitch over for a strike, and they're having to throw straight fastballs, and they're not getting the
and then they leave one hanging.
and leave one hanging, and there's already 2 guys on, so you got that 3 or 4 pointer out there, and then the scoreboard balloons, and then things just go off the rails. That doesn't happen with these guys. You see, I get a notification from the MLB app, and it says, Cincinnati Reds score 2 in the top of the first. I'm not saying that that's happening right now. I'm just taking the teams that are playing tonight. My phone's charging. I have no idea what's going on in the game. I have no idea if even people are commenting on the show here tonight. But what I do know is you see something like that, couple runs score in the first inning. Well, then phone goes silent for a while. Unfortunately, that's partly because our offense can't score, but also more so our pitching staff. I thought that was maybe a notification coming to my watch about the game. The pitching staff, these young guys, they give up a couple runs early, or they get, they're struggling those first couple innings, and they find that groove, and they never get rattled. It's this veteran presence in these young pitchers that is so stellar, and it's partially a credit to the Guardians Cleveland baseball organization, because that's how they develop these guys, and it's what I would love to see them be able to do on the offensive side, or the field player side of things, especially in the outfield. Guys that come up from the minors that are patient at the plate. They have professional level at bats, even if they're not hitting very well. Their batting average isn't what they want it to be right away. They're not pressing. They're getting on base because they're walking. They're taking pitches. They're forcing guys to get deep into counts. They're fouling off pitches, things like that. And we just don't see that often enough with this organization.
Well, I'll give you guys an update on the game. We were down 1-0 with 2 outs, but Ramirez just had a base hit scoring someone from second. So now it's tied in the top of the third. 2 outs. We're still up to bat.
Gotta love Jose.
Gotta love
him. If everybody that tunes into the show, if you really want to know why we call him AI, or he's an AI system, why we call him audio instead of actually like a human, is because I just got that notification from the MLB app, from the score card.
He's quick, man. He's quick.
Peter got that before the MLB app did, and they try to put that stuff through.
He's got the latest processor and everything, Kevin.
Well, are you down in Cincinnati right now?
No.
Partially in Cincinnati?
We do have a comment from Eric Nanarone that said the outfield is the biggest problem. They're not getting any power from the outfielders, and they need to redo the outfield this offseason.
Boom. Here's the thing. Now, one, Kevin, you sound just like my dad. Everything you said about the pitchers, like earlier today, I had talking to him about the veteran, how they look like veterans at like such a young age is ridiculous. But remember when everyone was like, oh, one hitter's not going to make a difference, blah, blah, blah. One hitter can make a huge difference. Could you imagine where we'd be? Because when Naylor went out, that showed you right there how fragile this offensive line is. So imagine when Naylor's out, we had someone that would have just been able to take his place right now. How much better off we would be. We might be pretty close to that damn division. And then when we get Naylor back, now you got a third person. It would unlock. I'm telling you, it'll unlock this offense. It still bothers me, like irks me that they did not get that outfielder or power hitter. Maybe it wasn't available. Whatever. They should have did it in the offseason and not just taking another gamble on Josh Bell, who every time I see him hit a home run or something in Miami, it drives me insane. Yeah, Kevin. It's been a struggle of a year, man. It's not been fun being a Guardians fan.
And I always give credit where credit is due, and I've given this front office especially a lot of credit for what they've been able to do with the amount of resources that they have. But a lot of people wanted to still give them credit for, I know we had this debate as well, for going to Houston to, have a meeting with the team and break it all down to have to talk about that. Front offices shouldn't. We both said it. They shouldn't have to talk to every player. I mean, there's exceptions. There's LeBron, and different sports are going to have different philosophies with that. But it says a lot that they felt like they needed to go and talk to the team after all of this. That two sides were not on the same page. So there was an issue there. So yes, while they may not have been able to have a dance partner in the trade season to get a professional hitter, I never ever say I want an all-star, I want a superstar out there on the outfield. I want you to go get Shohei Ohtani. I want you to go get the best player in baseball. I never say that. I always phrase it as I want a professional major league hitter in the outfield. That, defense may not be like an exceptional trait of theirs.
Michael Brantley.
Right. And we've had guys like that, and we don't hold on to them. And even some of the minor leaguers that somehow they're stuck down there because of the logjam at their position. We also give up on some of them too quick. We give up on the wrong people too quick, and we hold on to the wrong ones for too
Yandy
long.
Diaz, Nolan Jones.
There's just like this disconnect. They can sense a pitcher when they draft them and when they trade for
I don't
one.
even know they're drafting them. Kevin, those dudes got a 3D printer and they're just printing pictures somewhere, dude. They're making them. I thought, I was like, man, you're pushing your luck with giving up on all these pitchers and getting rid of all these. No, they're just going to have Cy Young winners for the rest of life.
And for all they're able to do with that, it's like that has taken all of their energy, all of their knowledge, everything, every ounce of their baseball being has gone into the pitching side of things. And it's like night and day when it comes to trying to find an infielder or more so an outfielder that can do it all. It doesn't have to be at a superstar level. I'm just looking for the ability to do it at the big league level, and we didn't do that. And they decided to, I'm not saying punt on the season, but they decided to go with the tryout season instead of going for it.
Who's next to happen this to Oscar Gonzalez? I'm gonna call it right now. Put it on the board. We're going to trade Oscar Gonzalez, and then he's going to go somewhere, and he's just going to rip it up. You know it's going to happen, Kevin. You know it's going to happen.
I know. And look at Josh Bell. I mean, he goes to I know we weren't the only team he struggled with, but he goes to the Marlins and he starts hitting home runs. Is there just something in the water here where home runs are becoming less and less favorable?
Everyone on that team needs to drink only what Jose Ramirez drinks from now on.
Yeah, get Mike's super stuff from Space Jam or whatever Jose's drinking, or
Jose's super
something.
stuff.
Like, again, power hitting is not just home runs, though. Everybody gets messed up in this new launch angle and exit velocity and all this type of stuff, but power hitting is, yes, home runs, but it's also doubles. Having the guys with speed that we always have in our lineup, if they could hit doubles, some of those could turn into triples. And now you're putting more pressure on the other pitching staff instead of just allowing them to, they're struggling in the first, and then we, bring up a guy like Miles Straw and he grounds it in a double play. Inning over. And then they settle in and we make them look like a superstar when they're just an average at best pitcher that we're going against. It's frustrating.
If you're not going to hit for power, hit for average, and the rest of this team is not hitting for the average they hit for last year. And our offense showing it, man.
Yeah, everything has gone in. Everything that happened last year, we're seeing the exact opposite story play out this year. It's frustrating, but hey, maybe the silver lining has yet to show itself this year, and we hope that it does. Well, with that, we hit our second break of the night. I guess there's some basketball news out there, or football really does get started tomorrow night. And I'm not talking about the Browns. What are we talking about? We'll figure that out in the break, and we'll tell you on the other side. This is the Voice of the Land, the Big Play Network.
Are you struggling to hire the right talent or maybe even find the right career? Vector Technical makes it easy. Since 1992, Vector has provided Ohio employers with a reliable process for hiring and have helped thousands of job seekers advance in their careers. Vector Technical is more than just a temp agency. We invest time to get to know each client and candidate personally. Vector places people in job opportunities that they are truly excited about. Interested in learning more? Visit our website at www.vectortechnicalinc.com to see a full list of our current job opportunities and to find out what Vector Technical can offer you.
Get your gear at voiceoftheland.com/shop.
Welcome back to the Voice of the Land, and welcome to football season officially. We were talking in the break, and Peter, I believe you have an announcement. I know that you are not actually on screen and never really on video anyways, but you have an announcement for our audience about where CBC TV will be. I unfortunately won't be there, but Peter will. People can still get great high school football coverage with the Chagrin Valley Conference right on CBC TV if you go to chagrinvalleyconference.com. Peter, you got a back-to-back this week.
We do. We have a back-to-back. So the first game is tomorrow night at Conneaut. So Conneaut, Madison, and Jefferson have been added to the CVC. Grand Valley, which is also quite a distance out there. That's out 422. Just keep going east. So Grand Valley will be at Conneaut. Our second game is at Beechwood. And I don't have the schedule in front of me, so I'm not sure who they will be playing, but both of those games will be streamed live on the CVC YouTube channel. So look up Chagrin Valley Conference on YouTube or go to chagrinvalleyconference.com, and there should be links there.
So you're telling me, Peter, that the Chagrin Valley Conference is basically like the Big Ten? They're adding teams that are much further out of their...
There are 26 teams, I believe, now in the CVC. They have four divisions for football.
4 divisions.
Yeah. So there's Metro, Lake, Valley, and River, I believe, are the 4 now.
It's not Chagrin no more?
It might be Chagrin instead of River. It might have been that may be my bad.
I was gonna say, because it's always been Chagrin and Valley. That's always been the two divisions.
Yeah, Chagrin, Valley, Metro, and Lake, I think, are the 4 now.
Lake is the additional one now. Yep. Yeah, because I know when I was in school, people that don't know, I went to Wycliffe, and so Chagrin Valley Conference is basically my home for student athletics. And it's where I've coached at. It's where I've, just the teams I've known. When I was in school, it was the Chagrin and the Valley, and then we started to add a couple schools. So we had to, at least in basketball and soccer, all the schools outside of, or all the sports outside of football, we had the 3 divisions: Chagrin, Metro, and Valley.
Okay.
Well, now they've really started to grow and grown to the 26 teams. So now it's not just 3 divisions for most of the sports and 2 for football. It's 4. I'm pretty sure that's probably going to be the way it is across the board, right, Peter?
Yeah, I believe so. It's Orange is at Beechwood on Friday.
Orange is at Beechwood.
Yeah, so
so
but yeah, that's well, here's the thing going way back, Kevin. When I played for Solon, we were in the CVC.
Oh, that's
so
right.
The CVC was like Chagrin Falls, Orange, Solon, Twinsburg. I believe Wycliffe was still in there. Yeah, basically. But it was those schools. I think Kenston might have been in the CVC at that point. I forget, it's been so long ago.
Yeah, Kenston's kind of been in and out. I mean, Kenston came in, they were added to the CVC when I was in school, but I could have swore that they were in it at some point beforehand.
Possibly.
Too. So
they're out of it now. West G is in, I know.
Yeah, so West G, Perry, and that's Lake County Perry, not Massillon Perry.
Right. Harvey, Edgewood, Crestwood, Wycliffe, Brooklyn, Cardinal, Cuyahoga Heights, Independence, Jefferson, Lakeside, Chagrin Falls, Perry, Geneva, Madison, Grand Valley. We already said Berkshire, West Jaga, Orange, Independence, and Trinity. I probably said Independence twice there. So we do have a couple doubles, but we are slated to, it looks like, do at least 13 games. So we actually have the last 2 weeks of the regular season are both doubleheaders.
Thursday and Friday.
One's a Thursday, Friday, and I believe one is actually a week 10. I believe is a Friday, Saturday.
Oh well, maybe I'll dust off the rust a little bit for week 10. We'll see
You're
where
always welcome to come stop by. So we'll see how it goes. So we do have a new play-by-play person since you are busy with other assignments. So
Yeah, Kevin, what will you be
yeah,
doing?
what
now
will you be
this
doing,
year?
Kevin, for Friday Night Football? Plug away.
and I don't want to plug. I hate
Come
that.
on.
No, you have
If
to
you're
plug
not
this.
if you're
This
not
is-
watching the
this is
CBC,
you,
you got to
man.
be
This is a
listening to
big
Kevin
deal.
Arnold.
I know. I know. So we don't talk about it a lot in the show, and there's a reason for that. Not because it's a bad thing, but because I try to leave each thing as its own and make sure that each thing gets its importance when it's there. But I do work at ESPN Cleveland, one of the sports talk radio stations here, and every year there's always been some sort of high school coverage at ESPN Cleveland. They've been one of the radio stations to make sure that the spotlight on the great student athletes that continue to go through generation after generation through here in Northeast Ohio, especially on the football side, which can rival football in any other big market that there is. Texas, doesn't matter what the stadium size is or anything like that. Talent wise, we could go best on best, and that's for sure. So ESPN Cleveland has always tried to highlight those, along with other networks and the growth of the Sugar and Valley Conference and CBC TV, trying to showcase as many of these student athletes as possible. In the past, it was play-by-play. When COVID hit, of course, the staff wasn't being sent out to games, so they did a scoreboard show to try to keep as many people up to date as possible because they knew not as many people could go to the games, if at all. So everyone tried to find a different way to get the information out to people. What's going on at the game? I'm nowhere close to the stadium. On the opposite side of the city. I don't know what's going on. And I love going to games. What's happening? And that's the way it's kind of been. So it's like its own radio show. And last year I was doing some sideline reporting for it as I've gotten in at the station, and I was also doing play-by-play. This year I have been afforded the opportunity, and I've worked. I will admit I've worked my ass off for opportunities like this, and I will continue to do so because I never want to feel like I've ever, quote unquote, and I put that in air quotes for those just listening on Google, Spotify, or Apple, I never want to feel like I've made it. And I don't plan on ever feeling like that. But I am going to be the co-host of our High School Hysteria presented by Wendy's. That's just natural for me to say that. High School Hysteria, our scoreboard show.
Hey, we love Wendy's.
Yes. Even as a gluten-free person, I make sure I buy as many gluten-free hamburger buns as possible, and I switch that stuff over just so I can eat some Wendy's hamburgers because I will do that all the time. That's not paid for or anything like that.
No,
I want to
dude,
put that out
seriously.
there. This is a separate
Unfortunately, I got one
entity.
like literally like 2 minutes from my house. Yeah, their burgers are by far the best fast food burgers. It's not even close. And that chili, that
Oh, the
chili,
chili is so good.
I love it. I get put it on dogs and it's good to go.
And this is all just we're just talking about Wendy's. There's nothing paid for
Plugging
here.
away, Wendy's. So go ahead and pay
Yeah.
us.
No, but
one
yeah,
day.
Wendy's could pay us. That we would not object to that.
Yes,
You
but
can pay me in food.
all right. Not to cross over and try to sell a sponsorship for this show when this is part of why I keep things separate. But it is a big deal that I will be in the co-host chair for the first time in my career, and I'm really looking forward to it. Really looking forward to being able to break down some of these games and kind of look at it from that standpoint. Being around high school football for so long, I'm going to miss being out there on the sidelines or in these stadiums because that's really where the atmosphere is. But I mean, I'm going to make sure that anybody that's driving around and not able to get to the game and they are wondering what's happening in high school football because they just absolutely love it, I'm going to make sure alongside Dale Davison, who's going to be the host of the show, I will be second chair. We'll have Carmen Kalo along as well. We're going to try to give as much information about these games, break it down, look at recruiting, look at stellar performances, not just from Ohio, but around the country. And at times try to update on other sports that have been going on in the fall as well, because all of these student athletes deserve a spotlight. And football is that main beacon that we can kind of use to then us also uplift some of the other sports and all the other student athletes. So really looking forward to it. Get started this Friday from 7 to 10. For 10 straight weeks, we'll be doing that. So if you're not at a game, you want to know what's going on in Northeast Ohio high school football, every time we come back from break, we're going to have score updates all the time. And then we'll be breaking down some of that stuff. And as Browns and Ohio State get going as well, we'll touch on that. But we're really going to try to spotlight all of the great student athletes here in Northeast Ohio.
Well, just wanted to say on tape that congratulations, Kevin. You did work your ass off, and I'm glad you're getting this opportunity. And me and Peter both know that you're going to take full advantage of it.
Yeah, and I'm going to take it seriously as well. There's no, I'm leaning back in this chair right now, but Jay and I are both sitting in chairs that are not the most comfortable to sit long stretches in. So
God,
I'm
this
trying
chair sucks.
just trying to adjust my back here every single time.
That's why you see me. I'm squirming around and stuff. Yeah, it's because this chair is absolutely terrible and there's no cushion.
Yeah, but there's no relaxing. There's no leaning back in the chair. I've got so many of the great high school football writers and people who cover it, like for Cleveland.com and the News Herald and some of the other outlets and stuff. I have as many of those articles bookmarked. I've been reading through this stuff. So we are going to have as much knowledge. And if we don't know something, we'll have people on to educate us on things. And, again, really looking forward to it. So it's just that next step of motivation to do more work rather than, hey, I moved to the other side of the glass and now I can just kind of coax on by. That's the exact opposite of where my thinking is. So we're gonna have some fun, but we're gonna make sure that the work is done and the conversations are about the right thing. So tune in Fridays 7 to 10 if you're not watching. But if you want to watch an actual game, SugarandValleyConference.com. All the great work that Peter and his crew do all the time. They'll have a game of the week at least every Friday for the most part, and sometimes doubleheaders like this week with Grand Valley going out to Conneaut tomorrow night. So the season gets underway tomorrow night. And then Orange at Beechwood on Friday. Those are those two featured games on CBC TV. And I know that I'm sure if you have Spectrum, there'll be a feature game in Northeast Ohio Showcase. I forget the exact name, but one game in Massillon Friday night, 3 games in Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium on Saturday, St. Ed's, Archbishop Hoban, Glenville, and Massillon, Washington. A lot of well-known programs here in Ohio. They're facing off against state champions from some other states. So it's Ohio versus America, trying to showcase that Texas ain't the only place that's got great high school football. We got some pretty good teams right here in Ohio, and especially in Northeast Ohio. So keep an eye out. And
our population compared to those other powerhouses is probably half, if not a third. And we have just as many great players come out of here.
Oh, yeah.
What I hear is like they have great players. We have great coaches. Like the coaching you get in Ohio is probably, they say, the best there is in high school football.
And it's not just at the best division either. It's all the way down. There are 7 divisions of football here in Ohio. So you got guys like, I know he retired, but Chuck Kyle at St. Ignatius and Tom Lombardo at St. Ed's. That's Division I. Ted Ginn Sr., who's coached in Division I, now with Glenville, now with Glenville down in Division IV. Like, there, and I could go on and on and on, but then you have Tiger Laverty at Kirtland, who's flip-flop between Division 5, Division 6, Division 7, all the way through there. And there's so many other ones that don't get the recognition, so we're going to make sure we highlight that as well. And CBC TV will do that, and all the other outlets that cover high school football. If you really want to know how good it is, sometimes that $1 subscription to Cleveland.com or the News Herald, it's actually pretty worth it because there are some stories being told that should be told and people should know about. And there are a lot of great writers out there. Some that blame you for losing a state championship game, but, I digress. No, there are a lot of great people that have been covering this stuff, not just 2 years, but 20 years. So stay tuned. With high school starting up, Friday Night Lights kicking off, right around the corner from fall. But we're still in summer, and summer you tend to go on vacations, or maybe when it gets cold, you go on a vacation. What is that one place or that list of places you've always wanted to go but haven't yet? We'll talk about our top 3 on the other side. And tweet at us at AlwaysPositiveJ, at LPV Productions, at Kevin7, at VTL_pod. Yes, tweet at us. Don't X at us. tweet at us, and we will maybe get to some of your responses as well. We'll talk about that next, right here on the Voice of the Land, the Big Play Network.
Are you looking for a career in manufacturing? Vector Technical has you covered. Vector Technical is a 28-year-old staffing firm that is partnered with some of the biggest and the best companies throughout Northeastern Ohio. The recruiters at Vector Technical will coach you through the entire job process and will help you land an opportunity that you are truly excited about. Vector does not add any additional fees and offers benefits as well as free online skills training through Penn Foster. To learn more, visit www.vectortechnicalinc.com and make sure to check out our job board to see a full list of our current opportunities and apply.
Wow, time really flies while you're having fun, but and it's been a fun show, just as it's always is to do the show. But tonight, especially, it's been a really fun show, and we're already in our final segment. Got about 10 minutes left, and we always like to have some fun at the end of the show. We try to find maybe a topic or a top something to end the show, because look, talking about the Browns, whether they're good or bad, and talking about the Guardians who are struggling, and sometimes it takes a toll on you. You need a release from the release. Sports are seen as people's release from life and the obstacles, and we always wish well to everybody out there, because there are some things you have to deal with in life that are absolutely terrible. But on the lighter
like the
side,
death of my fusion.
yeah, like
Oh.
losing a car. There are some things that are, on the lighter side of things, but sports is seen as an escape. You're a Cleveland fan, you need an escape from the escape. And maybe sometimes that escape is an actual vacation. There are places you've always wanted to go that you never had a chance to. Jay, you brought this topic up, so I'm going to start with you. What is kind of your top 3 places for vacation you want to go to, you just haven't had that opportunity in your life?
Well, no particular order, because I just don't care for order on these things. One is New Zealand.
What's ranking? We don't need.
Yeah, you're ranking like the places you want to go the best. Like, who cares? You know what my favorite one is? The one I go to first. New Zealand. I would absolutely love to go New Zealand. And I think that would have to be a really long vacation, because I'd want to see like as much of that island as I could, because there's so many different geographical settings and stuff. And that's where they filmed all the Lord of the Rings and stuff. And you got mountains with snow, then you got tropical beaches and spots and rainforests on one spot. You have tundras in another. It's just a really cool looking place. Another place I'd love to go to is Bora Bora. And if I could ever, something I'll never be able to afford to do is, you ever seen the ones where they got the little island hut things that are all connected, and then you walk around the boardwalk to get it to.
Yeah,
that would be that's a dream come true right there. And that one I don't even need to leave. I just stay in my hut the whole time and jump in the ocean back and forth. I don't need to go anywhere else. I'm good. And third, and I feel really bad bringing this up too, and that's part of why I want to do it, is we always say thoughts and prayers and stuff, and thoughts and prayers to anyone in Hawaii. That looks so terrible. That is one of the places that, ranking wise, it might be number 1 for me. It just looks like pure paradise, and it's just what happened to those people and animals and just everything there. I feel bad for them. Yeah, Hawaii is way up there for me.
Peter?
Oh, so that's a difficult question. Now, New Zealand, I thought I didn't even really think about that, but after hearing Jay talk about it, I'm like, that sounds great. Because I think it would be really kind of cool to see that. And I actually work with at Futuri. We work with some radio stations in New Zealand, so I've been on late night calls where it's early morning in New Zealand, working with some stations there. So they do have some really good music there too on the radio, by the way. But I always wanted to do Norway, or Iceland, some of those Nordic countries. I thought that would be really cool.
I got Norwegian blood in me, man.
There you go.
Pretty much a Viking over here.
I mean, it is kind of a toss. There's tons of places around the U.S. I want to go that I haven't been to. The Keys. I like to go out west. I love going to Portland, Maine. I mean, that's something we've done a couple times, and I love it. part of me would like to go see kind of like Europe, parts of Europe. Like my family's traced back to like the border of like the Ukraine region. So I think that would be kind of a cool thing to do, just to kind of try and trace some, family history. But right now, I'm so tired. Any vacation sounds remarkable.
Yeah, any vacation sounds absolutely remarkable. I would, and again, no particular order, but I would say one place has always been Paris, France in general, because
We have the Eiffel
French,
Tower here, so
right? Yeah, yeah, but we do have it in our studio, yes, because people that don't know, Peter's son Jacob, and both of his sons actually kind of put that Lego Eiffel Tower together, and it's a sight to behold every time we walk into the studio. But
Gotta be all 4 feet tall.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it's at least.
Yeah, you can reach the top pretty quickly. I mean, you don't have to pay much to get up there either. But
the view is not as good.
Right. I mean, I would always love to go to Paris or just France in general. I grew up watching the Tour de France and saw like some of the countryside and all that stuff. It looks absolutely beautiful. But there's a lot of French roots in my background, and I would love to kind of connect with that a little bit. I would say Italy. It's not that I don't want to go to Italy. I just feel like being allergic to gluten would be, and even dairy, I feel like I'd be shunned from the country pretty quickly. Even though it'd be nice to visit. I would say Great Britain or, like United Kingdom, but especially Manchester. Taking a Manchester United game at Old Trafford. That's absolutely like a sports bucket list thing for me. I don't know that I'll ever get a chance to do that, but to take in an actual soccer match on the other side of the world and in the Premier League where it's, the biggest of the biggest, that would be absolutely amazing. And I would say for my third one, see, technically,
Here's another way you could look at it. It's like Disneyland, let's say. Like there's other just like places like that.
I thought about that. Like France, Paris has a Disney as well. So, check off all the Disney.
They have a Disney?
Yeah, France has a Disney.
How many Disneylands are there?
Well, and that's not Disney. I don't know if they call it Disneyland.
It's Euro Disney, isn't it?
Euro Disney, yeah, I think so. Because there's one in Florida.
I'm just saying, like Disney. Damn it!
Yeah,
Disney
Disneyland.
Right. I'm just saying, like, how many Disney lands are there? Like different parks.
I don't know. The number that comes to my head is 5, but I don't know that that's accurate. There's 2 here in the United States, 1 in France. It's called Disney Paris, by the way.
Oh.
I'm getting texts from the resident doctor of the show because we both love Disney.
Setting us straight.
Yeah, she's setting us straight. So it's called Disney Paris. I think there's one in Hong Kong.
I think there is one.
At least in like the Asian Pacific part of the world, there's one over there. So maybe there's 4. I don't know. But checking some of those off the list, got to vacation there. Like, of course, I'm going to go check out Disney if I'm close to a Disney park. Yes, Hong Kong, 2 in Tokyo. Just waiting for the text to fly through, even though she's in the other room. She could just yell. At this point, who cares? Oh wow, Vlatko Adanovsky has stepped down as manager of the U.S. women's national team. So, didn't make it out of the first knockout stage, and the coach of the U.S. women's national team has stepped down. Can't yell, baby is asleep. All right, well, I'm going to talk a little quieter now because he's about to wake up and screaming because he needs to eat. But I will wrap up with, I thought about doing that with the Disney stuff, but there is a place that I know I've vacationed with my family, and I put vacation in quotes, but I was one at best. I was one, so I have no knowledge of it, nothing at all. I would love to, and as they're rebuilding it, I would love to go back to New Orleans because that's really the basis of the family heritage that I really connect with. The Cajun Creole side of things, that I honor my grandmother that way. She made her own jambalaya, homemade recipe, and that continues to be made by my aunts, and we have it now. to be made here at home. I would love to kind of like honor her and go back there at some point and see New Orleans. I know that the hurricanes have kind of definitely hurt that, just like the unfortunate fires in Hawaii have ruined some of the beauty there. But they'll rebuild there. New Orleans has been rebuilding, and I would love to go to New Orleans.
Which actually I forgot to leave off is Aruba, which hopefully we'll be going next year too.
Yeah,
I'm trying to swim with some sea turtles, bro.
that would be cool. Like if Janet was giving this list, we'd be going to any beach anywhere. So
Yeah, I'm all about the beach, man. Take me to the beach.
I'm
What-
sorry, what? Oh, not true, guys. Not true.
Oh.
Report from the other room. Not true.
So you're sending out fake news over here about you, our resident doctor.
That's kind of true. All right. Well, that'll wrap it up for this edition of the Voice of the Land. A lot of fun tonight, guys, and we love to do this every single week, and if we can even make one person laugh, it is an absolute pleasure to be on the show and then be on the Big Play Network. And we thank anyone who tunes in at whatever point of the week that it is. And I'm making a vow to be much better at making sure that the show, we get clips out there too, because there was fun stuff that happened tonight. I don't even remember right now. Clips will help me remember and help everyone else have a good week as well. So when there's those days of panic with the Browns, you need a good laugh. Voice of the Land will be there to help you out, keep you in check reality-wise, but give you a good laugh. And with that, for Always Positive Jay, for Peter Tillip, have an absolute blast this week. I know it's going to be a busy weekend there for you, Peter, but have an absolute blast. You know
Thank
how
you.
fun it is to do high school football, and good luck to all of the high school and student athletes getting their seasons underway for football, volleyball, soccer, all of that kind of stuff. I'm Kevin R. reminding all of you sports fans, hey, don't let anyone ever tell you it's just a game. We truly love you all, 3,000. Jay,
Don't talk about it. Be about it.
and live life, all gas, no brakes. We'll see you next time right here on the Voice of the Land on the Big Play Network.